Welcome back to Court TV Live along with Julia Janae. I'm Ted Rowlands. It is Monday, and the jury in Dedham has been deliberating now for 4 hours and 45-ish minutes, and we are on pins and needles watching our friend, the fan, in the courtroom.
Yeah, well, something different happened this year. We've never had a verdict in this case. So if we hear those magic words that the jury has a verdict, regardless, this is monumental in a case like this.
Yeah, what was different? Well, there was a lot different in this case. You had Hank Brennan. You had a different defense mounted. You had battle of the experts, and you did not have the Brian Higgins, the Alberts, and the Proctors coming into the courtroom. So it is a vastly different case that was put on, and so many people are waiting right now. Any word, and we have you covered. That's our camera shooting the fan. That's inside the courtroom. But outside the courthouse, oh, there's a lot going on there, too, as well.
Now, that's something that's the same as it was last year, but maybe more. We're learning that. Let's go live outside right now. That's where we find Court TV lead anchor Vinnie Politan. Vinnie, I was watching you earlier. I couldn't get over the glasses and the people that you're talking to, but what have you heard since we talked to you last?
Julia Janae, I'll be honest, I could not hear you. The crowd is not making noise, but there's just this palpable anticipation and excitement that is drowning your voice out of my ear. But I'll tell you this, we know what public sentiment is. Every poll that has been done, whether it's by Court TV or others, is between 80 and 90% of the public believes she's not guilty. The question that we have is, all the people here obviously believe she's not guilty. But what about the 12 who are deliberating across the street inside the courthouse? Those are the 12 that matter. And in recent times here at Court TV, everything's kind of been in sync, right? Johnny Depp case, we didn't know the way the public was necessarily going to react to that one, but it was overwhelmingly Johnny Depp. The jury saw the same trial. Alec Murdaugh, same thing. The jury saw the same trial that the public did. But I have a memory. I was down in Central Florida. Ted, I know I hate bringing this up. You know I hate bringing it up, Julia, as well. But I was there for Casey Anthony.
Do we have to say the name? We have to say it for him?
I said the name. I said it. I said it just because I have to make the point. I mean, I was there at the courthouse, and the crowd wasn't as large as it was here, but everyone there believed that she was guilty. And we know what that jury said. So that's why you never know what's going to happen. And despite what the public sees, you don't know what the 12 in the box are necessarily seeing, especially in this case, because it was held in such a small courtroom, the public didn't even get inside the courtroom. So we literally didn't see the same trial that they saw, because they are there inside the courtroom. 10 seats for the media, and that was it. Family and friends. It was very limited this time around. But I will say this, as we usually the stories on the courthouse steps, but these are the steps across the street from the courthouse. Obviously, this is where Matt's been doing all his stuff, but people are getting as close as they can to the courthouse. And again, it's all about that anticipation. So I'm going to literally sit on the steps here and talk to some of my new friends. Although she clearly doesn't want to talk to me, I can tell. She does not want to talk to me. So I'll come over here. So the anticipation, how will you feel if there's no verdict today?
I'm going to be very upset because she's innocent, and she should be. This shouldn't even be going on like this. She should have. It's innocent. She's innocent.
Let me ask you this. The last time I was live, was I talking to you?
You was.
So I keep talking to the same people. I'm not talking to...
Don't talk to me. You wasn't talking to her.
She's always here. Oh, you're new. Okay. All right. Over here. Okay. Then this is interesting, Ted. I told you there were people traveling for this.
Yeah.
Where did you come from?
All the way from Scottsdale, Arizona.
That's a long trip. Now, just for this, are you going to the Cape or something?
Well,
or
I did go to the Cape. I went to the Yankees-Red Sox game. Go Yankees. But I obviously had to stay for the verdict watch.
So you'll stay until it's over?
Well, I'm supposed to fly home tomorrow, but I can always change my flight.
Ted, should she change her flight now?
Yeah, go ahead and change it. I don't know. I think it's going to last till Tuesday, Wednesday.
Tuesday, Wednesday. If it's not Tuesday, I think it's hung.
Ted is thinking Tuesday, Wednesday. Julia, what do you think?
I think if they don't come back with a verdict tomorrow, that is going to signal that they are hung.
Okay. So Julie Janae thinks maybe tomorrow.
Really?
But if it's after tomorrow, you could be here a long
Well,
time.
it's a good thing I'm on Southwest and I can change my flight at any time.
There you go. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much.
So nice to meet you.
See, here we go. So the crowd is fully anticipating this whole thing to happen today. Now, obviously, it didn't happen this morning, but most of the big verdicts come in usually in the afternoon. So if it's going to happen today, obviously it'll be in the afternoon. Will there be much warning? What will the reaction be, I think, is the big question. Because I don't know, and I'd have to ask someone. Are you prepared that there's a potential that a jury could come back and find Karen Read guilty?
I am. I don't know how I'll handle it, but I'm prepared. But I mean, there's so much reasonable doubt. There's so much.
What drew you to this particular case?
Because I once was in her shoes.
Wait a minute. Give us the shorter version. But what happened?
I was framed as well in the state of Ohio. I spent 8 years in Montgomery County, 5 years in Montgomery County jail, waiting my trial.
And you got out and you were found not guilty?
Yes.
And you did 8 years for something you didn't do?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So
How are you doing now?
I'm great.
Okay.
I'm pardoned. Everything's good. So thanks to God, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you still trust our system?
I do. I do.
Thank you so much for sharing that story. I'm telling you, Ted, people are here. It's more than just like, oh, it's an interesting case. It's a salacious case. No, it's about a cause. People believe that there is injustice taking place here, and that's why they're here, overwhelmingly. They believe not just that there's reasonable doubt, they believe that she's factually innocent in this case, and that things were done by people in the government to make a citizen look guilty. And that's really what drives, I think, the passion of the people who are showing up here. But what's interesting, Ted, I'm going to turn the camera around, so we're going to go this way now, is when I first spoke to you, Ted, I feel like the anticipation is growing, like the conversations, no one is chanting, no one is protesting, but I think the conversations are getting a little bit stronger amongst each other, because I think it's all part of, we believe this thing can happen at any moment, like at a moment's notice. And I'm wondering how that reaction is going to go down, but obviously we'll be here for that reaction, Ted. Ted, what was it like? And I want from Julia also, I'm sorry to interview you on your own shows, but I think it'd be interesting to compare your experiences at those huge trials, whether it's Michael Jackson or Derek Chauvin, those moments just before the verdict comes down.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing like it. There's, when you hear that there's an actual verdict, the adrenaline runs through your body. You get in there, and especially in a case that could go either way. Michael Jackson was found not guilty in the molestation case in Santa Maria. That's where the big crowds were. And like this, the crowds were waiting for the not guilty. And the reaction outside of the courthouse, you could feel and hear. Peterson went the other way, but again, the reaction, and that when you don't know, it's crazy. Robert Blake found not guilty. I thought he was going to be found guilty. To Vinnie's point, you just never know.
It became a parade for the Derek Chauvin trial. Once he was found guilty, when people were waiting, crowded around their phones, crowded around radios, listening, and once they heard guilty as charged, I mean, it erupted in Minneapolis, and it turned into really a block party, a parade that went on for hours because people were just so happy and so connected to a cause. And though it's unlikely to think about Karen Read and the death of George Floyd in the same breath, but there's this conviction that people are there for something larger than the person, and that's what it sounds like you're hearing from people there, Vinnie.
Yeah, Julian, I just bumped into Court TV alum Michael Bryant. Michael, great to see you.
Hey, nice to see you. Hey, could you give me your thoughts on this verdict slip? I'm asking folks what they're thinking of this second page of the verdict slip. Take all the time you need to figure that out.
It's a little confusing.
It's
What are your thoughts about the scene here? Because you've been in a lot of the big cases.
It's unbelievable, and having seen this grow over the last 2+ months, I never would have anticipated this. First of all, let's just say the lawsuits that were filed on behalf of what I'm calling the First Amendment zone led to this, because the cops here were brutal in keeping this whole area sanitized. Really, the buffer zone, they called it. It was just wrong. We filed the lawsuits. Mark Randazzo did an amazing job. This is the result. And is this, are people yelling, screaming, burning buildings? I mean, this is a pretty sedate but large crowd here.
It's extreme. I mean, it shocked me when I walked up, because I was here back in May, and, you know, a few people here and there came back with the relaxed rules and the anticipation of the verdict. How do you think it'll go here, though, if it comes back with a guilty, like we see in the overwhelming majority of verdicts on Court TV?
I'm going to call it loud disappointment. I mean, I don't think any of the state troopers' cars are going to be turned over. Things are set afire. Major disappointment, and hope that on appeal things will be changed.
How about, and the alternative? The not guilty comes down. What do you think happens in the streets here?
Just a loud uproar of vindication. Remember, this is, you know, Vinnie, this is as much about Karen Read as it is all the folks who live here, who see issues with law enforcement here, who see issues with the DA here, who see issues with the court here. And this is a symptom for them. So if they see a victory here, I think they're going to read it as a victory on a much larger scale.
And folks are watching you streaming where? On Justice Serve?
Justice Serve TV, yep. Justice Serve TV, Linda Kenny Bodden and I having some fun there, yep.
All the Court TV alums. Great to see you, Michael.
Good to see you, buddy. Hang in there.
Michael Bryant. Ted, it's intense. It's more intense than it was this morning. That's all I can say. And it's not just, you know, because we have a camera on. It's walking through the streets. I can't explain it. It's like a simmering that is now bubbling. And we'll see how this verdict ends. But I have the verdict form now. Michael gave it to me, apparently. This page is a little confusing.
There were some issues with that last year.
And this morning.
With the verdict form, where not looking the way that the defense wanted it to be. It was
which is,
debated.
you know, I think that it's safe to say this time around, both sides are going to look for clarification if indeed the jury comes back and claims they're hung.
A little thing called polling the jury.
Yeah.
Even if it's behind closed doors.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Vin, what's your prediction? Do you predict? Or you got another person there?
Well, no, I really feel, because Thursday is a down day, right? So Wednesday, for me, has the Friday feel. If the jury is going to go through the evidence, and I've been at a trial in this courthouse, so it's the same jury pool. It was years ago. Julie Janae was in grammar school. But the jury, it was a very clear-cut case. There was DNA, there was a lot of evidence, but the jury went through the evidence, and they did that on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They didn't even vote until Friday. So if you have a jury approach it that way, it could take some time because of the amount of evidence, the number of witnesses, exhibits. And then if you don't agree, that jury agreed in their first vote, but they didn't take a vote until Friday because they went through the evidence. So the question to me really is, how do they go about this? Do they go about this by taking a vote right out of the gate and figure out where they are and then work from there? Or do they say, well, let's go through the evidence and try to agree on what happened here? And if you talk about doing that, it's like you've got to figure out, was there or was there not a collision? That's the first fact that I think any jury has to determine. So if they try to figure out if there was a collision or not, what are they debating? They're debating expert testimony, which is thick. You're debating digital evidence. You're debating whether or not she confessed. You're debating whether or not the pieces of the tail light were broken at 5:07 in the morning. So there's a lot to go through. But if they take a vote and they're almost there, it could be quick. It could be this afternoon. But I'm thinking Wednesday, if we get past Wednesday and we come back here on Friday, then I'm on high alert on Friday, and then we're getting into a longer deliberation.
Yeah.
Was that vague enough for you, Ted?
Yes, perfect.
And it even reminds us about the first jury. It seemed like they took a vote the first time out of the gate, came back allegedly with not guilty for 2 of the counts, and then spent time really just infighting. They didn't get a lot of evidence back to look over that we sometimes see with juries.
Yeah, and you just never know what's going on. To Vinnie's point, if the jury foreperson is a deliberate, let's talk about the evidence person, this could go on for a very long time.